Good morning, YouTube! Electra accent bar light motion sensor detectable. Now you're in trouble. Alright, I got 3 of these total, so I'm not opening this package, okay? Because this is my backup in case something happens to one of my other ones. And I got 2 others, one in each one of my safes. It's kind of dark in there and scary, and I need to be able to see certain things, and well, hey, who wants to keep pulling out a freaking flashlight? So I thought I'd give these things a go. So I originally bought one because I have bought motion lights before from Dollarama, and well, they didn't work, and there were different things about them, and either way, any setting didn't work on the damn thing. I call it junk because junk is junk to me, but other people have had good luck with it. That's fine. Mine was junk, so hey, what do you want? I was not going to waste another $5 on that little tiny piece of garbage to go, look, this one works. It only cost me $10 to get one. So far, two out of 3, I've had no issues, okay, with this one. And with Dollarama, you got to know things come and go all the time, right? Especially the popular stuff. You know, you'll see the shelves are full at every Dollarama, like within the first week. We got a lot of Dollaramas in North Bay. It's like way too many. But every one of them will stockpile these things on the shelves, and then within a week, gone everywhere. Like, people eat these up. And who wouldn't? You know, I mean, you've got a combination of metal and plastic. It's LED. It's pretty bright, actually. Multitudes of uses for this, and it has a magnetic strip, which is kind of handy because, well, you got to change the batteries someday and you got to dump them out, so they've made it so that obviously it's a magnetic strip. So as far as the instructions go, well, let's get into that for you because I can't see crap. But anyway, peel the backing tape off the magnetic strip. You know, generally when it's still attached to the light would be a good idea. Place the magnetic strip on your desired place. Mount the bar light on the magnetic strip. Now, that's opposite to what I just said. See, I needed a proper, perfect positioning, so I need to physically hold the light so I can square things up with my thumb at the back, and it kind of depends on where you're putting it. Okay, I'm putting these things in gun safes, so a little bit more of a interesting non-visual area, so I got to kind of even things up the way I want it. But you can put these in like pantries that are dark and gloomy. Your closet, which is kind of handy too. I have no light in my closet. I could actually use this in there, but I'm not going to. Because by the time I open those 2 doors, and here with this bright light, I don't have a problem. Anyway, let's continue on. So, auto on when motion is detected within 10 feet. Auto off approximately 15 seconds if no motion is detected. Must also be in a low light for the sensor to activate, okay? So low light or no light. Well, there ain't no light in those suckers, so works for me. Anyway, do not mix new and used batteries. Do not mix alkaline standard, carbon zinc, or rechargeable lithium cadmium batteries. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of common sense, but they do put the instructions on. Because people, well, they got to really start, paying attention, right? Because they just don't think sometimes. Anyways, so, but it comes with 4 AAAs. I don't know how good they are, but each one of them is in their own little sealed pack, so you got to kind of break them apart. I'm keeping all the spares because I've been using energizers. Another reason why I'm not setting this up because I don't want to use the batteries. And I'm out of energizers because the other 2 sucked up the rest of them. So I got to buy more. I'm not a real fan of the cheap batteries, but I'm sure they'll work, and I'm sure they'll work for a long time, because the only time this light goes on is when you open that door or that drawer, if you're going to use it in a drawer situation or closet, whatever, okay? And like I said, it goes off after about 15 seconds, and then it sees motion again, no big deal. I kind of like it too, because if I'm in one of my cupboards, then, it's like, oh, I left it open. Damn it, the light. But it's motion censored. It's different than light sensor, but it still needs low light regardless, right? This way it stays off, right? With that, I've had absolutely flawless use out of the 2 that I have right now that are up and operational. They're working absolutely perfect, and I love them. And you know, I may buy more in the future for other uses. I have a friend that has the same use as me for these, but he also has an RV trailer where he's got a pantry that's dark and gloomy, okay? And so he wants to light it up, and this is a good way. Now, what I do though is I actually leave the magnet on here, I peel the thing off, and then I position carefully the whole bar, you know, whichever way, because you can go directional because you've got this fatter gap here, so you can have the light more that way towards the back, or you can have it more this way. It's up to you. And it does actually make a slight difference in lighting and shadowing, so you got to kind of figure that out on your own, which way is going to work best for you, but whatever, okay? But then I stick it up there. Now, the one problem I did find in my gun safes is you better make sure that the roof of that thing is absolutely perfectly clean, okay? Because we know when things sit over years or whatever, things can get a little tacky or gummy or, you know, just gross. And so you're going to want to give that area a good wipe down with some Windex, or alcohol is great too. The isopropyl rubbing alcohol, that stuff is fantastic for cleaning that crap off of the surface as well. It's going to stick to wood, metal, whatever, but the surface must be clean, okay? Otherwise, you'll do what happened to me yesterday when I put my second one in, and a couple hours later, I'm like, what the hell is that? And yep, it came off, the magnet came off, and the magnet hit my flooring down below on my safe, and it got all the particles off the foam, and I was like, son of a booger. I mean, not much, but it's enough that the magnet didn't want to stick anymore, like with the sticky stuff, because the back side of the magnet apparently is not magnetic, only the front side for this, or I don't know, maybe the magnet's in the light, who the hell knows. But anyways, so I crazy glued the sucker in there, because I'm always going to be using these anyway, so I don't really care. And I used just enough crazy glue that I could pop that thing off if I ever wanted to, and it wouldn't be a big deal. Besides, they do make crazy glue dissolver liquid too, so you can get it off pretty clean. But when I did my first one, of course, I had cleaned. I just was not thinking yesterday. When you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning almost every day, even if you go to bed at midnight, it really sucks that sometimes you forget a step on something. And I did, and I'm willing to admit to that. Full transparency on my channel, kids. I mean, I don't BS you or lie to you. I'm going to tell it how it is. And this also saves you some problems, because sometimes some of you, I'm sure, can be a little dipsy-doo-dah as well. So just keep in mind to clean that surface very, very good. Make sure it's also completely dried before applying it. Push in really good on the magnet, like on the light and the magnet. Remove the light and then run your hand across that magnet really good, you know, to push the adhesive in, right, so that it gets a good grip. And I'd probably say let it sit for a good hour, and you're fine, and it'll be okay, and you should be without incident, okay? But if you do end up with any kind of a problem with the adhesive on this stuff, you can buy replacement double-sided adhesive in kind of like a little narrow strip, but you could replace over top of that if you wanted to. Just buy some quality stuff, like from your local hardware store. Don't buy the stuff that you can get at Dollarama that's double-sided sticky in the roll, because I did that and that stuff is garbage. You've got to get the 3M quality stuff, and you could replace there. But, you know, I'm half an hour away from my nearest Canadian Tire where I could get that stuff, or hardware store where I could get it, where I know it's also in stock. And I'm like, you know what? A few drops of crazy glue, it's there, and no problem since. So thumbs up there. And my other one, it's been fine with the regular adhesive on my first one. So, however, I would definitely have to say that well, I think this thing cost me like $4.50 or $5, one of the two. But it was not more than $5, that I can tell you. It is 200 lumens, which I don't even pay attention to that crap anymore. But it's more than bright enough to get the job done, okay? It's not going to be blinding like daylight. It's 200 lumens, but it's going to give you enough lighting that you're going to be able to see what you're after or doing in that area. And if you do need more than one in an area, like to get even more lighting going, definitely ideal and very inexpensive. I saw these ones at Canadian Tire. Like, this is going back a few years ago when I first saw these. And then, of course, they had stopped carrying these for quite a while. And so I found them at Canadian Tire, and Canadian Tire has their version of this, which is far more expensive. And I'm like, I'm not paying that kind of freaking money. Screw that. I'll wait till Dollarama gets them back, or I'll find another solution on the internet. But anyhow, Dollarama has brought them back, and they ran out, and they brought them back, and they ran out, and they brought them back again. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm buying them now because now I really, really, really need them. Back then it was about, let's do a review for YouTube and let's just share our wealth of knowledge. And now it's kind of like, well, there is that to it, but there's also, I'm actually putting these into everyday use. And it's been more than a month that I've had one of these going in my one cabinet, and it has been absolutely awesome, okay, because I have a lot of junk in there. And so we got more of them and popped one in the other, and then we got one spare. And it's like, you know, because you might get a defect, which is another reason why I did it, but also if something did happen to one of the other ones, I definitely have a spare either way. And I don't mind leaving it in the package till, I don't know, the end of time, if that's what it takes. Or I find a use for this one in the meantime. But the other two, working absolutely perfect. I do recommend Energizer batteries, though. Don't use those. I really dislike the cheap dollar store kind of batteries, and I don't like any other battery on the market except for Energizers and Duracells, because they are the best, they are the strongest. They do have the best usage for milliamps of power, so they last longer, okay? So even if you're buying your kid like RC toys that run batteries only, like AA's, AAA's, 9 volts, do your kid some justice and buy a little Junior or Jeanette, you know, like freaking real batteries for their toys so that the toys also function. Because with a lack of amperage in the batteries, they don't function right at all. Okay, it's like 1 minute of joy. My batteries are dead, Mommy. Can I have some more? And you figure, hey, I bought a bulk pile of this dollar store crap. Here you go. 1 minute later, can I have some more batteries? You buy Energizers or Duracells, they're leaving you alone for at least an hour or two. Okay? So you're pretty good that way. You get the idea here? This is why I don't like cheap, junky batteries. And rechargeables suck too because, well, that's in a whole other video, but they have their place in this world and they have their place where they don't belong in this world. However, I think it definitely deserves an easy 4 out of 5 for this thing. It is fantastic. It works great. And like $5, I mean, and they come with batteries if you want to use them, but it's up to you. Okay, try them out and let me know if the stock batteries actually do work, because I'll never use them in these things, but you know, that's just me. I'm me, you're you. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes out on more goodies at the Dollarama, because sometimes we can get some really cool gems. Other times we definitely get some garbage, and it's kind of nice to be able to hand that information around to the internet too. Via my channel, because I like doing a lot of the Dollarama stuff and Dollar Tree and, you know, cheap stuff and, you know, some stuff that's a little bit more. It just compares, right? Anyways, so in the meantime, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to check out my other 5,000 plus videos on my channel. All different kinds of areas for everybody. And if you want to subscribe, please do that too, and smash that bell for notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Till then, bye!